Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 25 of the Subscription Podcast. I'm Paul Chambers, here along with Louis-Marie Pierre Ricard, and we're going to be talking about all things subscription membership and recurring revenue today. I'm very excited.
Woo!
And, Bradley's here too.
Hello.
All right. If we were doing one podcast a year, we'd be doing this for a quarter of a century now. Thank God we're doing this every 2 weeks. Otherwise,
we'd be in trouble.
A long time, yeah.
We'd be in trouble.
Before podcasting existed, this podcast did. Today, we're going to be diving into some subscription news. We're going to talk about dog poop extensively. Netflix, future of automobiles, X.AI versus OpenAI, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, some announcements, 8x10 Glossies, and we're going to wrap it up with a raucous game. It's going to be named that subscription, ladies and gentlemen.
And we skipped that part. Also, you asked me to do a photocopy of myself, and I still don't understand what that means. And I'd love for you to explain to the public.
I just appreciate you and what you bring to the organization, and so I need a duplicate of you.
I wish it would have been funnier. Now I feel bad because it's a nice compliment.
You were so confused. Sorry. I was like, listen, I just need you to do that. Make a copy of yourself.
And what did I ask you? What size did you want the photocopy?
I said life size.
I said 8x10.
8x10 Glossy.
Anyway.
Let's kick us off with the news, Louis. What's happening last 2 weeks?
Yes, please. A lot happening last week. I'm going to try to condense it as much as I can. First things first, a strike is officially over. UAW ends historic strike after reaching an agreement with the big three. So GM was the last one needing to finalize the agreement. The union leaders officially got a deal done. With GM, we'll see a 25% wage increase across 4.5-year deal with cost of living adjustments, according to UAW. The official for GM posted a video on X explaining kind of how it all came to be. So now, obviously, we're Detroit local, so this is big news in our area, but also big news for automotive industry as a whole.
And because of this, this is a good segue into just kind of what's happening out there in auto. You're going to want to stick around towards the end of the podcast here because I have a really interesting interview with Drew Smith. He and I had to coordinate our times because he's all the way in Australia, and we're talking about automotive subscriptions extensively. And fascinating. He shared some really fascinating stuff we'll dive into here in a little bit as we tee up that interview.
All right. In the meantime, fascinating stuff in the news still. Wow, transition. You're welcome. TikTok's $1 billion creative fund is officially shutting down. Boom, 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 boom. Now, actually, this was the
Sorry.
Thank you, Bradley.
Sorry, you did the thing, and so I had to do the thing as well.
I feel kind of overstepped at this point.
I mean, it was great.
Anywho, it was great. So the $1 billion fund will shut down. Initially, it was set up in 2020 to help creators go viral on TikTok and create as much content and get revenue. However, a lot of creators complained that the money was very little, the revenue was little. It was like a couple of dollars for millions of views. So, the ratio wasn't really adding up to them. So the fund's going to shut down. It was impossible for the creators to make a living off of it. It'll be shut down across several countries, US, UK, Germany, and France are part of it. So now we'll see what happens on TikTok as a platform. We know that obviously...
This is the end. This is the end of TikTok.
Are you calling it? I don't know if you're joking, if you're calling it. I don't see.
I gave you my serious face. Here's what I think, and this segues you into the next piece of news out there, which is X.AI announced their AI chatbot. Mm-hmm. How do you pronounce it? Grok?
Yeah, Grok? Worst person to
I know, right?
ask that. I would go with the first one.
Grok. Okay.
Yes.
So they announced their AI tool to compete with OpenAI. Mm-hmm. And along the way, they also rolled out or have been talking about their new X Premium Plus subscription that as an X Premium Plus subscriber, you'll get access to this tool. Now, here's why this is important. Here's how it connects back to creators. Since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, now X, he has encouraged creators to get more involved in the platform. Start posting your content, start talking a lot more. I've personally got more involved just because I want to see how this unfolds and what happens from there. But they're starting to pay out those creators a lot more. Similar to what TikTok was trying to do, but X is just doing it as part of their business plan and what they're doing there. Now, coming back to this new offering they're going to have, Grok, and it is going to be exponentially, they claim, exponentially better than OpenAI because it's going to use Twitter, X, as the source of knowledge for its AI chatbot and its AI tool. And now, in theory, then, the creators will be more incentivized to post their content to the platform because it's going to be feed into the discussion via the chatbot.
That's the hope.
That is the end. That's how the story ends. That's
Begins?
it, like
Question mark?
right? That's how the story ends for TikTok because they're just going to fall behind. Why are you going to want to post content to somewhere? I mean, I think people are going to get eyeballs and they're still going to watch it, but now the content becomes more meaningful. It serves multiple purposes. It serves the purpose of people being able to watch it, engage with it. And then it also is feeding an algorithm of intelligence and making it so you could become a trusted source. You could become a source that the AI bots turn to.
I think it's interesting that you compare TikTok and Twitter. I see them almost like, I know they're
Totally different.
both social media platforms. They're not
Totally different right now.
So
do you remember when TikTok was Musical.ly and it was like you'd sing along to your lyrics and stuff like that? So the point there is like these platforms can make transitions.
Yes,
and they can make dramatic transitions over the course of time. This is setting the stage for that. We started talking about this even before, like when Elon started looking at the platform, you realize like he's always said like he's always said buying Twitter is a jumpstart to what my idea is for something bigger that's there.
Yep.
I think he threw everybody off the trail by talking about like, oh, it's the app for everything. You can like pay in it. I think they're going to introduce all of that for sure. But I think this has been the end game all along. He has like the Dojo supercomputer within Tesla, tons of great AI minds, and you have the ability to, I think, do so much more with it. Mm-hmm. This is the end game right here. And I think it becomes, I don't know where it can go from here. This is kind of where my brain stops, but.
Well, that's also interesting because another piece of news is Meta is testing ad-free subscription in Europe right now.
So if you subscribe, you don't see any ads.
So just like Twitter.
No way the economics of that work out.
But so they are rolling this out because X was rolling out this new offering, which is offering the same thing.
I think so. But if you look at like even the economics of the $5 a month or $7 a month subscription at X have never like worked out. But now this starts to change. Okay. $29 a month. I think you can start to climb this up there.
Oh yeah.
But the value of I think every user is $400 plus per month, at least from in ad revenue. I have to look this up because that's like really old data in my brain. But I think like look at what your ad revenue is worth on a monthly basis. I bet it's significantly more than any subscription you could ever pay for. I don't understand how that's possible.
Right now, so they're going to test it in the EU, EEA in Switzerland. Not going to lie, I don't know what EEA is. Depending on where you purchase
EA Sports.
it will. No, that's
in the game.
Thank you, Bradley. Do you have a sound effect?
I'll have to put one on.
Depending on where you buy it, it's either going to be €9.99, €9.99 a month on the web, or $12.99 a month. So anywhere from pretty much 10 to 13 euros, which equates to a little bit of like $11 to about 14-ish. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because it falls relatively in line with X's offering for ad-free content. So what I really like about what X is doing, X is more leading the charge as far as leading like a universal discourse potentially happening of having ongoing conversations with anyone in the world. And that's really the only platform I see doing this. Because Facebook, I think we can all agree, is kind of unless they revamp it significantly, it's a very boomer-oriented platform right now, at least in the US, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Instagram, very different, right? They're trying to start monetizing everything for creators. They're starting to try to get as many creators on there. And Reels are working slightly well, but that's a derivation of TikTok. So there's a lot of competition there. Mm-hmm. Twitter is really outside of, I would argue, Bradley, maybe you can help me on this, but Twitter and Reddit feel like very equivalent right now as far as the public discourse and that forum idea that's kind of coming back, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is X and Twitter, there's still a bit of an algorithm that brings certain people up on comments and stuff like that, whereas Reddit is very clearly the highest rated post is on top of the comments, whereas X, it's like the most controversial post. It's like the one with the most replies is on the top. So like, let's say you have a post, right? And then you scroll down to whatever the replies are. If it's a popular post, there's going to be a lot of comments on it, right? It's not the most liked comments that are on top, though. It's the one with a lot of messages. So usually it's the top comment is like the most toxic comment.
So interesting.
Right.
Whereas on Reddit, it's whatever the people, upvote the most. So there is a couple different things there.
John, I was talking to John Roman over the weekend over at BattleBox, and he was testing a bit of a theory on X over the weekend, and it proved to be true in terms of when he'll drop a simple message about something that's happening in business, and it'll get good lift. If it's got, more engaging, less like teaching you things, where his content that he's using to teach people about stuff gets less engagement. And you think that would be like more engaged, like because it's more helpful and people like it. But it's still, I wonder if it's the way the users flock to things, and I think the algorithm still is being perfected there.
100%.
I think there's a lot to be desired still.
I try to toy with the For You page now on X, and there were moments I make a point of telling the algorithm, please don't show me this again, or don't post similar to this, because I understand they're trying to learn as much from me as possible. And this is where I think understanding my data is helpful. And this is where I think like privacy policies, like I don't feel like invaded. I just want to tell them, hey, like, I understand what you're trying to do to me or for me. Let me help you guide, that feed of mine of what I want to see. Right. So I think if users kind of start embracing that versus fighting it, there could be a lot of progress made a lot faster. Yeah. Which is an interesting.
We totally sidebarred off the news for a second.
It's newsworthy.
All that was newsworthy. Is actually, what's happening out there. I think I went off on a little tangent about, I get excited about this like AI stuff. I think, so then I found this article and I haven't had time to like really read it.
The audio one.
But it did say like, what's a user worth to Facebook? I can't believe this. $13.54 each quarter in the APAC region. We need to look this. We're going to come back around to this later, because if some of that's the case, then it just becomes numbers, right? Like number of subscribers behind it. But like on LinkedIn, I just recently verified my LinkedIn membership with my Clear membership, and that's something I pay for every month. Now, would it make sense for LinkedIn to acquire like a Clear? Well, Microsoft would have to acquire Clear. I don't know. There's a ton of stuff there. It's fascinating.
Speaking of Microsoft, Windows 12 may require a subscription. How
do you feel about that?
I don't know, because the last time I used a Microsoft product was a very, very long time ago. So I'd rather ask you.
It should be on subscription versus having to buy it.
Yeah.
It should be on subscription.
They're considering the service.
You know what? That confuses me, because your entire computer is working off of that engine. And so if you don't pay it, does your computer just stop working?
Yeah.
There's a message that says,
that's terrible. I would never do that.
Well, so
okay, you'd get the latest patches, you'd get upgrades.
First off,
you'd have like a full set of people behind you worried about your security.
The improvements were never big enough. I haven't even done Windows 11 yet.
Exactly.
Because they've never needed to be done.
Because you didn't want to buy it, or because it didn't need to be done?
It didn't need to be done.
Because you didn't want to buy it?
No, because even some compatibility issues with other products like Adobe and stuff like that, there were some issues there. So it's like,
how much does it cost to buy Windows nowadays?
Unsure. I can look.
By the way, I was just going to keep asking the question until you said, yeah, because I didn't want to buy it.
No.
To prove my point about subscription.
No, there were compatibility issues and stuff like that.
So I get that with hardware. It would be
a step backwards. Yeah.
I've been out of the Windows world for a while, but I understand. I used to build computers a long time ago, so I understand that. But like, I don't know what it costs to buy Microsoft.
It looks like I'm looking at $139.
Couldn't think of the product name.
$139.
$139. Okay. And how often do new ones come out? Like once a year?
The Windows 2024 is rumored. Windows 12 is rumored to come out in 2024.
There's usually quite a big gap between releases.
Man, but like, what if your Windows subscription included the operating system?
I think it's the
Microsoft Office with it.
Mm-hmm.
AI enhancements to it.
Game Pass.
Oh, Game Pass. You could bundle up with Game Pass.
Full
and
bundle.
so now Windows isn't really part of what Windows isn't what you're paying for. It's part of what you're paying for. You can get Windows Basic for free to run your computer.
Right.
Windows Basic to like run your computer, to do the basic things. But man, you get Office with that. You get the AI stuff. You get gaming with it.
Yeah. That's different to me. That's different to me.
And I think that's about like providing value. And Ryan and I, they talked about this with Ryan on like rental and stuff last week. But like it's about like what can you do to provide value to the subscribers? That's like our theme of SubSummit. It's a frictionless theme. Make it frictionless. Always be thinking about the customer.
That is first spoiler ever of the theme of this is
sure. I tell everybody all the time. I just don't.
Well, to you viewers, it is.
But I think that's where, as a brand, be thinking about what you can do to just make it a no-brainer.
I think the play is interesting on Microsoft's end because they want to dominate the AI market. Like that's been their mission. Like they've clearly stated like they want to develop the most robust AI with the best performing AI possible.
I'm buying Microsoft stock if they make Windows a subscription.
Well, so
I swear on my life, look at the way Adobe has gone.
I want to be very clear. It's all alleged. It's all rumors from someone who saw a report that said subscription models, subscription tiers. Yeah. So let's all,
calm down for a second. I already own some Microsoft.
Breaking news. Breaking news, guys.
Microsoft moving Windows to a subscription exclusively.
I do really like the fact that what you said, right? It doesn't become about Windows anymore. It becomes about a lifestyle element where like Bradley, for example, is the perfect audience for this, where it's like, oh, wow, I can benefit from all these services at once, pay, I don't know, $50.
That's what I'm doing with Apple. All of a sudden I'm paying $23. I used to pay like $2 a month. I used to pay 99 cents a month for storage. And then I started having children, and that's when you go broke. And now I'm paying $23 a month for, our family plan. We got music. I've got another $16 a month for Apple Care protection.
Does any of that get bundled?
It does.
Okay.
The Apple One, I've got the music. I've got a couple other things. And it's only going to grow from there as my kids get their watches and they want fitness and things like that.
I'm going to go on a slight tangent here.
Yeah.
There's something about my pride that doesn't allow me to pay the 99 cents. I get messages every day that my iCloud storage is full. And every day I'm like, not today, son.
Yeah. Even though it's 99 cents.
And my wife is like, Louis, like, you lose your phone, you're done. And I was like, give me one really good motivation to not lose my phone anymore. And so I will not pay this.
I'll give you the $12 to do it. The anxiety I have.
I'll give you $12 out of my pocket.
I knew you would say that.
I can't live like this. You can't. You need to take this money right now.
Save it. You can go to Olive Garden. You can go to Olive Garden with this.
Please do this.
No.
You're getting a raise right now.
This is a 0.3% raise on your thing. Anyway, that was my tangent. You're welcome. If you refuse to subscribe, hang on, I'm doing a quick infomercial. If you refuse to subscribe to Apple's products because 99 cents is just annoying to pay, join me.
I will pay you.
Follow us on LinkedIn. Let's talk it out.
That's 20 months worth, dude, that he's about to give you.
Hey, guess what? New news. Spotify betting big on the booming audiobooks industry. Spotify is adding audiobooks to its streaming platform and subscription model. Very interesting.
That's huge.
I feel like a broken record of providing value.
Huge, though.
I'm trying to
So something I want to put in there though is Spotify is my main streaming, but I was going to use Audible because there was really no streaming benefit or anything like that. And if I wanted to purchase a Spotify audiobook, which I've looked into, I have to weirdly go outside the app to do it. And I think we've talked about some of these before about how, I'm assuming it's part of the Apple ecosystem and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, there's a barrier. I'm just going to do it on Audible because I can do it all within the app. But yeah, if I want to get one, I'd have to go on the website and everything like that and purchase it. And that was frustrating to me. So
you know what's interesting is this comes at no additional cost. And so they rolled it out in the UK and Australia. And so the article says Spotify premium subscribers in those countries have been able to access up to 15 hours of audiobook content per month. So they are limiting the time that you can have those from more than 150,000 titles, zero extra charge.
Holy moly.
So
I didn't know about
like
that.
you said, right? Incredible value, nothing to do. You just have to be subscribed already.
That might be better than Audible. Maybe Audible is one free buck. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Pretty much one book a
you get
month,
like a credit, yeah.
But 15 hours is pretty much a book.
Yeah.
Depending on the book, obviously. But I was just, I have this Quentin Tarantino book I'm doing. It's 12 hours. And so,
Fascinating.
And guess what? The quote, I could replace the first word with frictionless. A seamless one-stop destination for all things audio.
That's brilliant.
According to Spotify.
That's a great,
so
it's a good play.
Anywho, a lot of people that are bundling, offering, that are making things happen to have everything in one platform. We keep saying it, and you guys keep listening to us. So please keep doing that because consumers love it.
It's coming. Microsoft is going to make you subscribe to
And
Windows.
that is, it was only in other countries.
Once again,
right?
Allegedly,
is that in the U.S.?
It's rolling out in the U.S. later in 2023, Bradley. I will let you know first thing on Slack.
Please just knock on my door.
Just come over at midnight.
The AI overlords
but yeah,
are coming.
please don't buy Microsoft. I mean, you can if you want to now, but just don't listen to Paul right now.
Send me an email. I'll send you a reg key.
And that's it for the news. Bradley, cue us with some sound effect. Thank you very much. Paul, back to you in the studio.
What we didn't talk about is Netflix's announcement of their $2 million sponsorship on live sports.
Bradley, can you you need to cut in the replay of us saying,
about,
"Hey, Netflix, you should definitely do this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a prediction that we're like, Netflix is getting on.
So this is an experiment. They're doing this around the Formula One race. It's in Vegas coming up in 2 weeks because there are race car drivers that are playing.
So I thought they were doing the golf. Yeah. Gotcha.
It is the drivers that are playing there. They're playing at the Wynn, and this will be their first real foray into live sports. And I think the announcement was you can sponsor it for a cool $2 million. So I'm gonna take this 20 back and put it towards my sponsorship of that Netflix event. I don't know what I'm gonna sponsor.
Yeah. But super interesting because Netflix is putting up the $2 million so that you have to match it if you want to advertise, because Netflix is going to keep advertise its services on the course everywhere. Yeah. So if you want to be part of that advertising, all those billboards, like you have to be matching Netflix's.
The best thing you could do is buy an ad on the Sphere at that time. Then it'll just be like seen in the background.
We never talked about this chair. I can't believe we never talked about this chair. There's so many opportunities with that.
Yeah, right.
So very, very interesting. So like you said, they're going live right now, which is interesting because they've dropped a few series, right? We were talking about it of Drive to Survive for Formula One, and then the golf series, which was Swing something.
Full Swing.
Yes. Which was very interesting. A lot of people get a lot of traction. It was following the drama between Live and the PGA Tour, and so kind of not surprising that they go after golf, especially after we've seen those broadcasts of Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson partnering with like other superstars. We've heard the match and things of that nature. So golf feels like a very good, solid first step.
Yeah, and it's a fun, goofy thing they're doing. Yeah. It's the car drivers that are playing. I think this is the next evolution of it. I think it's only a matter of time before Netflix has a full live stream similar to Hulu, similar to YouTube TV. It's going to be a great way to add value, add new subscribers. I'm on the verge of canceling my Hulu and going over to YouTube TV right now. If Netflix had it all in one, I would definitely do that. There's not many shows I need on Hulu right now.
Wrexham,
yeah, I've heard that's good. I gotta get into that.
But so this is interesting, and Wrexham is actually a perfect example. Once again, following the series of this club that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, I can't say his last name for the life of me. But those two superstars in Hollywood bought one of the second oldest club in the world, I believe, or in the UK, and the series follow their journey. And so the problem with that is it's not a live series. They're dropping weekly episodes, which is cool, but we still know what happens because of the news of the 24-hour, I want to say 12-hour news cycle now. So those sports series are super interesting, but we know the spoilers already. So it's super hard to stay captivated.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting, especially like with Drive to Survive. You watch.
Oh my gosh.
That
still gets me going though.
Yeah, the way you watch those shows, and they don't go a lot of times like sequentially through the season.
They have to mix it up, or else you just know what's gonna.
Right, and it's giving you the backstory, so there's a lot of fun and excitement to that, and getting the backstory on it.
Yes,
I just think it's it's a great way to coming back to what we've talked about already a million times over, is providing that continuous value and giving people not necessarily like we've talked about in the past, like hoping they never cancel and locking them into it. It's keeping them engaged and keeping them as part of it, so they don't want to cancel.
And this is where I think it gets interesting, though, because, for example, the first season of Drive to Survive was among the most popular ones. it drove a significant number of people to watch the races live.
Yeah. It's
Once those people started catching on to the live races
right.
and were hooked, there's no reason to go back and watch the series unless you really want to unfold. But you get all those details from X. You get all those details
the diehards watch both. You see them on social media, but like it's a reason I'm more invested in Formula One. You know, I'm going out to Vegas next week to the race. You know, and so
and you're bringing
I'm
me along.
Curious. I don't know if I even want to be there for it based on everything I've read so far. But it's, you know, it's interesting. It'll be fascinating to watch it unfold, and streaming is going to continue to evolve. That's actually one of our 8x10 glossies we're going to be talking about this week. Jon Giegengack. Yes. It is a person behind the 8x10 glossy.
Just to let you guys know, there's a human element to the 8x10 glossy.
So it'll be you know, fun to see what Netflix does with that next.
And then Prime Video also streaming Thursday night football games right now. So it's like
with the worst logo in history of logos. But yeah,
we both agree on that. But there is an element of competitiveness here that we need to figure out of like who's going to come out on top, because YouTube TV, I agree, has the upper hand right now because of their ability to stream like cable in a more concise manner.
Okay, so make your prediction now. Who's the biggest streamer 10 years from now?
YouTube TV. I don't see them losing.
Oh, fascinating. Bradley. A decade from now, who's the biggest streamer? Who's out of business?
You're on your Microsoft bundle.
I'll tell you who doesn't exist anymore. Go ahead.
I think Netflix is behind right now. They got to catch up. And I think that's what they're doing right now. They were the one, and then they started going backwards.
Well, they
HBO
lost
Max will always be steady, in my opinion. Max will always be steady. I don't think it's going to be the leader, but I don't think it would ever go away because it's just quality content at all times.
Well, and like you knew it was the end for Netflix when they got rid of their DVD business.
Yeah, that was true. That's true.
I don't want to dive into that too. So what's your prediction?
Wait, hang on. So who's the biggest a decade from now? Who's the biggest streamer?
Man,
just say it.
Gosh, I can't wait to save this clip.
I'm gonna say Prime because it's gonna expand sports. It's gonna expand sports like crazy.
You seem so surprised by that.
Prime, because I wanted to say something about Prime because I could see Prime right now. They have a partnership with Paramount Plus. I think they're gonna buy them straight out, and I could see Prime literally taking over Netflix. I could see Prime.
Isn't Walmart doing Paramount Plus?
There's a bundle, but you can subscribe to Paramount Plus through Prime.
Interesting.
I was thinking about acquisitions too. I mean,
so I could see Prime buying everyone.
What, Apple and Disney Plus? Could you imagine that? If Apple buys Disney, that's also a huge one.
That
would be pivotal.
You might have the answer right there. Apple's got enough cash; they can outplay, outlast all these guys.
Prime has the most subscribers though.
It's going to come down to Apple, Amazon, Netflix. Hulu will not exist anymore in a decade.
We're going to lose Hulu. Disney Plus is just going to take over all that content.
Disney Plus will roll up into Apple.
Yeah,
I think Bob Iger is going to tear that company apart, and like pieces.
You guys don't believe in YouTube TV? Most
I think, and I think YouTube is around. I think the thing that saves it is our
podcast
kids generation
by itself
is for sure our podcast. Let's just be clear about that. No, it's the next generation of kids. It's all my kids watch is YouTube. YouTube and Netflix.
Those Minecraft videos, man, I tell you.
Yeah, and so that's where I think YouTube TV and everything else wins.
So there's not really
save this clip for the future 10 years.
We'll for sure be back
Easy
here.
clip saved.
I mean, I will be. So that'll be fun to see.
Both of you, but
all right, so
done with streamings. Done with the news. Bye-bye.
Yeah, except a real quick one where Disney Plus is releasing their first MA series all at once, too.
What's MA?
Echo, mature.
Oh.
Yeah, gory, bloody, swearing, all that stuff. It's called Echo. It's a Marvel series, and they are releasing all of the episodes at once. They've never done that. They've always done weekly.
Wow.
So that is an experiment.
Bunch of things.
Just want to stick that in real quick since we were talking about streaming. Throw it in there.
Yeah.
As a Disney Plus partner,
Apple will own that content very soon. Could you imagine Apple in the amusement park business? That's how I don't see how this story ends. I guess amusement parks can be their own thing.
It's like a very slow ride. That's just like it's a very chill, smooth ride. Like, you don't even feel the
over
curves.
Here we have the next big thing.
Thank you for
everybody. Welcome to Apple Park. Please.
There's never a line because it's like perfect. They got it timed.
Yeah. Because you can be on anything with your Vision Pros anywhere, anytime.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Right? Oh my gosh. Maybe Apple is positioning themselves to buy Disney.
Buy stocks.
It is a small world.
All right, so we got a lot coming up. We're in beginning of November here. Black Friday, Cyber Monday are upon us. The holidays are upon us. Actually, this week in a couple days, I fly out to Dallas tomorrow night to go to the DFW CPG event.
Boom.
Visit a lot of great CPG companies in Dallas. We're hoping to invite to SubSummit.
We're going to invite. There's no hope. They're going to want to come.
And then I go the next day to LA to the Recurring Revenue Conference.
Oh, yeah.
And the Chew on This dinner that night. Going to be a lot of great people. Please don't do that ever again. A lot of great people at these things. And so a lot of these brands I'm going to be talking to are prepping for the holidays.
The holidays. The Super Bowl.
So something to think about as a lot of these brands last year started rolling out memberships is how do you re-engage those members to renew their memberships coming into this holiday season? I don't feel like many brands are thinking about that. They probably added a whole bunch of new subscribers. They're probably thinking about like, what do we have coming up as far as, or a whole bunch of new members and subscribers? What do we have coming up? We need to like push as far as product goes, sales, things like that.
Excess inventory. All
My
that stuff.
guess is not much thought is being put into how do we renew our members that are out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are focused on acquisition around this time of year and like slight retention post-holiday, especially. Yeah. And when you think of those customers. I know when you think of those two categories, there are subcategories that you need to think of. And I think the holidays are such a great element to maximize your consumers' AOV. Right, average order value can go really through the roof in the holidays if you've done the job to nurture the relationship with your customer from day one of their sign up. Right, that's something we talk about. It's an evergreen conversation you need to have. And so, what I love about what you said is when you have that membership offering, you know those are your most loyal customers because they're willing to pay for your extra perks. What can you give them as a reward for sticking with you? Right. And that is tailored to their personal needs. The thing a lot of companies do lately is what I'm saying. It feels like here's this perk that we think everyone is going to enjoy. Mm-hmm. What do we always talk about? Customization, personalization. Those elements need to be included in your extra gifts, holiday gifts to your members. And it could be something very personal. It could be something from the founders themselves. There is so much potential here around the holiday, and it can start happening right now, right? Last year, we saw it with Walmart Plus rolling out the Walmart deals, which were deal days specifically designed for Walmart Plus members. So only Walmart Plus members had access to discounts, and it was before Black Friday, before anyone. Prime is doing that, right? Prime holiday deals. So if the two most successful membership programs, arguably, are doing this, why aren't you? Right. Like it's just that simple.
And you know, and you're right. Retention starts on day one of acquisition, and so you shouldn't be waiting until the holidays because you know a lot of them are going to renew around the holiday season. Every year, my Uncommon Goods membership comes up for renewal, but I love that product site. I love everything they're offering, and I keep it. Now, if they would market to me of like, hey, your membership's coming for renewal. Here's some great ways to take advantage of it coming into this holiday season. They're going to retain me as a customer. I'm going to buy more from there. And if they give me something exclusive, like thanks for being a member all this year, besides just free shipping all year round, I'm more likely to stay and buy more from them.
It's that simple. Just an extra product. Now, what about the members who've been very inactive over the year? And I'm throwing a complete hypothetical out. Would it be worth it to send them an email saying like, hey, we've noticed you've only leveraged 15% of your perks this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if you just downgraded them and like, hey, like clearly this membership is not.
I don't think you should be waiting for the whole. I think that's a mistake.
Oh yeah,
I don't think you should be waiting. Like we've noticed, like, hey, don't forget. And what if you told them to cancel if they weren't using it?
That's what I was saying. Or like downgrade.
Kind of what you're saying. Okay, downgrade.
You interrupted me a little close. I was getting to the climax of the story.
And plus, my brain was already like firing off in a different direction, and I tuned out the second half of what you said.
Perfect.
But
subscription podcast, everyone.
No, I got lost. Sorry.
No, but I agree with you. It's like based on your behaviors, we've sent you 75. Redeem this perk. You haven't done anything. Hey, Paul, we've noticed you've only leveraged 15% of your perks this year.
Yeah.
We don't feel right taking $129 every year from your pocket. We're going to downgrade you. I know, whatever.
I get what you're trying to say. I think
it's wrong.
No, I don't think it's wrong. I think there's a different approach to it. That's all.
Tell me.
I don't know what it is. I think there's something in there of,
got it.
Hey, we recognize maybe you're not getting the most value out of it. Here's a different offering we have that will give you the value you're looking for.
Gotcha.
it's like SubSummit sponsors. We don't want somebody to come to SubSummit and sponsor and like get a booth if they're never going to see value in like people walking up to their booth and it's, they have to sell 2,000, 1,900 of the 2,000 people there to make it worth their time. We're going to tell them instead get a ticket, to the event we're going to do the right thing so it's valuable for everybody that's involved. Same thing applies between a customer and same exact thing, just in different levels. So I think that's where it is. It's discovering what your audience is looking for and what's the best product for them at the end of the day.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. You already have a loyalty program, and let's say you did roll out a membership program, but is the holidays a good time to upgrade, to offer that upgrade from your loyalty reward program members to that membership? Upgrade from that free to that paid tier, and how would you do that?
I think you do that in the checkout. As people are going through that, hey, here's a chance to take, join club, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think, you're gonna do that via email and other spots there. And so, if you see, like, hey, by the way, you would have saved on shipping all year, and you would have saved this, you would have saved that, then yeah, it's a no-brainer for somebody. I
was thinking about this this lesson that Jay taught all of us at SubSummit about sunk costs for this element. And I was thinking about, what if during checkout you said, hey, our membership usually costs, let's say it's $120. Say, if you pay $20 today, we'll give you all the perks for a month, and then at the end of the month you can pay the $100 that are left. So you've already committed to that $20, and you can experience with all the perks during the holidays, which could potentially come with an extra gift that you can give someone, with like some really cool stuff that are holiday themed.
It'd be fun to see what happens there.
Yeah, because Jay Myers, for those of you who don't know, co-founder of Bold Commerce, talked about sunk costs being a great way to get people committed at a very low entry level. So you pay just a little bit of the price first, but then because you've already paid that price, you don't really have a reason to back out. It's almost more work to back out than actually commit to the offering of someone, especially if it's valuable to you. So that idea of, hey, let me spend a little bit, see how it works, and then I'll want to really get involved, that could be something to play with around the holidays too.
I think so, absolutely. And I think, look, that'd be a fun experiment to run, see what happens, see how people, like what they convert onto, if they just take advantage of it and cancel, or if they move in to be more loyal customers. It's all in the data.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, I was looking at some pretty interesting research the other day from, that was talking about like the true potential of Walmart against Amazon. A lot of people subscribe both to Walmart Plus and Amazon Prime because they use different things for different perks and benefits. And so the same can be looked at, from, a membership maybe that you have for the holidays versus a membership there for year round. What are you going to use on it? So it's just, the truth is in the data. There's so much behind it. I had a really fun conversation with a very large fast casual brand earlier today about their membership coming to SubSummit and talking about some of their data. And it is remarkable the way they look at it, what they've seen, and how they've continued to improve that. It's very cool. More to come on that for if they'll be joining us at SubSummit this year.
Really quickly, do you think there is, like, when would you start planning for that post-holiday retention push? As a former subscription box owner now?
Yeah, I think it starts, again, like just stuck in like an echo chamber here of like retention starts on day one of acquisition.
Are there anything that would you, I don't know if you've done those with Gentleman's Box, but are there any things that you would start planning now that are holiday specific to help that retention?
You should have started like 4 months ago planning on holidays.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
And I think it's, again, looking at the data, looking at what people, where they're buying, what they're buying, where they're using it. I mean, it should have started a while ago. So I don't have an answer for you for.
No, that's fair. That's a good insight too. If it's too late, it's too late.
Look, one of the things that we talk about a lot here is, and we've talked about a lot today, is right place, right time, and doing what's right for the customer. And I want to go on a small rant for a minute that we started talking about earlier. And you wanted to continue to talk about it, and I didn't want to until we got to the podcast. I was getting mad at you in the office
because
you're like, well, let's talk about this. Like, no, we'll talk about it in the podcast.
I guess I'm going to tune out for a second.
Every person I've surveyed in this office has answered the
same. Hang on, when did you start?
I took a survey of all the dog owners in this office.
Okay, better response.
Bradley, your parents have a dog? Did you grow up with a dog?
I did, yes.
How many poop bags did you use a day?
Oh boy,
for the dog.
Well, we would. Yeah, I mean, if we were on walks, I mean, it'd be one a day, but
One a
I
day.
mean, if it's in the backyard, yeah, I mean, we might do
Okay,
it
but,
every
like,
other day, but yeah, I mean, a significant amount of poop bags.
Okay,
yes.
but like on average, you would be able to know and calculate how many poop bags you used a day.
yes, 100%. It should be pretty recurring. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I know in our house, 2 poop bags a day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Chris George, 1 poop bag a day. Liz Odin, 2 poop bags a day. So if I'm going to a poop bag subscription, which does exist, there is a poop bag subscription. They're based out of Royal Oak, Michigan, which is like 2 miles that way. The question you should be asking when I go to the website, the question you poop bag subscription, because I'm about to start one. If you don't start doing this, I'm going to start a poop bag subscription. This is how I die. Is how many poop bags do you use a day? That's it. And then we do the simple math of like, if I sell them in packs of 100, you're going to need, 50 poop bags, whatever. Like, like let's start doing the math on this. You're going to need 50 poop bags or 50 rolls, whatever. I don't want to do this right now. So now, because I'm going to start getting myself into the math and confusing myself. But now you should be able to know the frequency of how often you need to be shipping them to me.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And account for error, account for ship time. You know how long it takes to ship to me. Why on earth are you just not asking the simple question, Chewy?
Whoa.
Looking at you. How many poop bags do you use a day? Start with that. And that's it.
And then my question was,
instead you go and make me figure it out on my own. When I go to the auto ship, I wasn't done with my rant. When I go to the auto ship, do you want to auto subscribe to this? Yeah, I'd love to do that. How often do you want to get them? Every what? I don't know. I don't know how many every couple of weeks I get it. I have to go and do the math. Just ask me the stupid question. Why is it that difficult? Why is there so much friction in this process? This is idiotic.
you let me know when.
I'm done.
Are you sure?
Take the $20 and go get yourself the Apple subscription.
No, you need them for poop bags, clearly. So my question was then, how big of a logistical nightmare is it to, once you get the various responses from each customer that you have, in Chewy's case, we're not talking about 10 people in an office. We're talking about millions of people.
Yeah, but let the software do the math. And I apologize. I'm a bit aggressive with this, but I do believe I'm passionate about it. I do believe that this is not a hard problem to solve. Okay, so Doggy Do Good, doggydogood.com. It's a family business based out of Royal Oak, Michigan, and you go to their website. They have the auto ship and save. You're broken the whole microphone.
Oh my gosh, what have you done?
This is. Sure.
Piss me off. Those poop bags piss me off.
Okay, so 180 bags you can get for $21.99. So
It just doesn't feel right.
I know you
just gonna take
you should probably fix that.
Nah, I'm just going
You
to.
go. I'll keep it on the 2-shot. I'll help you.
So I know that I'm going to need, 90 days. These are going to last me. So in theory, this is going to take me approximately 3 months to burn through this whole set of $21.99.
Yes.
So you should be able to tell me. But Chris George, it's going to take 6 months for him to use this. So it can do the math for you based on what you answer there. The software can do the math for you. And that's my point of instead I'm having to go in and figure it out and calculate it. They have an auto ship on here. And again, the frequency, but they're just asking the wrong question. I guess my point. You can make it so, because right now I'm is every 3 months going to be right? I guess I got to sit here and figure it out and think about it. But we're going to come back to the theme of SubSummit this year, frictionless.
Yeah, that's the one.
Subscription should be frictionless. The less friction that's involved, the more likely you are to retain your subscribers, the more likely you are to have happy subscribers, and it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the implementing quiz elements, especially when it comes to auto ship and subscription boxes. We see a company that does this extremely well is Hims and Hers health subscription supplement. Would you say? I don't know.
I'm laughing because of they've got ED medication right as part of their. So it's Nothing. This is a PG podcast. I'll keep it there.
This is health. This is Ben's health.
It
Yeah,
is
health.
health.
So like I said, health
Yes.
and supplements.
Yes.
We'll say
Yes.
supplements to make Paul happy, not too happy.
Yeah.
When you ask quiz and like depending on how you heard me, depending on how in depth you go with your questionnaire, right? Like that's where I think quizzes can be sometimes dangerous. But if you, like you said, if you find the 3 most pertinent questions that will help you deliver the best possible experience, I think there's nothing wrong with implementing that.
Right.
And I think you should encourage your users of like, we're not telling you to do this because it's going to go against you and it's going to give us data. Like the data we're collecting on you is to help your experience be better so that you never have to say anything to us.
It's not even a data collection concern.
No, yeah.
I think it's more of just, I guess I don't understand why not. Like, you're not even collecting any personal information before you ask the question to get to the answer. And I think like this a lot of times, like I like to say, when I'm talking to my kids or just different people I'm helping like try and navigate challenges in life, it's ask questions to get to answers.
Yeah.
Same thing applies in business.
Yeah.
From that standpoint of like finding the right things for your customers. So, this is a funny name for a company, 3poo1.com, dog waste bags.
I don't get that one.
Dogwastedepot.com, doggydooga.com, Chewy, Kongbox. We're looking at you. Looking at you. Fix it. Also, fix my dog food shipment, please. Just ask me how big the measuring cup is, how much I feed my dog every day, and then like make it so I don't have to this lives rent free in my brain. It honestly does.
You need to start
There's
charging.
a box sitting in my 3rd garage right now that showed up 2 weeks ago.
You see that subtle
dog
flex?
food.
3rd garage. He said 3rd garage without stuttering.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Same guy who laughed about ED
Where I
pills.
normally park my Ferrari. Instead it's I don't know.
It's a
actually have
Tesla.
a Ferrari,
It's a
I
Tesla.
wish.
But so do you think it's the answer to not asking those questions? Do you think it's as simple as they're so in the weeds that they forget the basis? Like
Yeah,
the basic?
that happens. You get in the weeds and you forget about it. Like there's things we could probably do better with SubSummit. It'd be easy to come back.
Yeah.
And and put me on the defensive about things. And yeah, it's so I think that's the goal. That's why I said like I got a bit aggressive. It's because I'm passionate and I care, and it's that's what we want to see. Like the goal of this podcast, the goal with SubSummit is to help people see those things, areas they can improve, ways they can get better with it, and just help impact millions of lives out there, make people's lives easier.
Could we see a SubSummit table talk
Yeah,
table about quizzes and
I think so.
personalization?
For sure. Speaking of, let's transition. We don't need to talk about dog poop that much. I think we gave some people some great ideas, some things to look at. I want to transition over to this interview I did with Drew Smith, because Drew's an absolute genius in the automotive space. He's done some consulting there, continues to consult for companies. Started off trying as an aspiring car designer.
Ooh.
And then kind of walked down this path of helping them see like the best thing for consumers. And Drew lent a lot of knowledge that talks about this, and I'm gonna recap a couple of things at the end of this interview, and we're gonna come back. So let's dive over to that interview with Drew real quick. All right, Drew. So I'm gonna just dive right into this with the line that I saw on LinkedIn, a post you made that caught my attention. And it says, while GM aims to evict Apple from its instrument panels, Porsche is doubling down on their partnership with the tech giant. And you go on to say in the article, one of the most underrated luxuries in life is consistency. Now, let me tell you, as a Detroit boy, this is a little bit painful for me. But before we get into it, why don't you give our audience a quick 30-second background on yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So Drew Smith, I am a strategist and a storyteller that started out as a car designer. As a child, I had great dreams of joining the automotive industry and quite literally shaping the future with my hands. That didn't quite work out. And I wound up involved in ethnographic and user-centered research, service design, and latterly, new product and service innovation. So really helping organizations think through from the consumer's point of view, how they could, how should I put this, respectfully extract a greater share of revenue from the customer base that they already have and the customers that they would like to have in the future.
So I like what you said there, Drew. First of all, it's funny because you said how that a design path didn't work out, and you happen to land in the best space possible, I think, that needs that help and attention on user-centered design, user focus, and where you're going. And I love what you said, respectfully. Could you say it again? Respectfully.
Yeah, it's about how do you broker a respectful relationship with your
Yes,
customer.
respectful
Yes,
relationship.
at the end of the day, you want to extract more revenue, but you also have to give something to the customer in return that's meaningful, that is valuable to them, and hopefully accrues value over time. And I think what we see happening in these early days, particularly around subscription features in the automotive sector, is that respect is not there. The consumer's intelligence is not being respected. They're not getting the value that they deserve for the ask that automotive OEMs are making of them.
And why do you think that is? Like, this is an industry that's been around for 100 years. Is that in itself, the problem? 100 plus years at this point.
It's been around 100 plus years doing exactly the same thing, which is taking metal, rubber, plastic, pushing it out a production line and getting it out to national sales agencies, to dealership networks, to franchise service operations. They really have very little connection to the customer beyond perhaps some research that they might do right at the beginning of the research and development process for a new product. So historically, once those products are out in market, the feedback loop from how customers are using their products and where those opportunities to generate new revenue might arise simply haven't been there. So I think what we're seeing is, it's like the really early days of computer software development, where user research, user experience research just wasn't an established part of the design and development cycle. And so we're seeing a lot of missteps, right? And a lot of misapprehensions about what customers will be willing to pay for, and fundamentally why they'll be willing to pay for it. And we haven't got that level of insight.
And it's like, that's shocking to me, right? A lot of times. And this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast to talk about it. We talk about automotive subscriptions a lot. And, when you and I talked a couple of weeks ago, we laughed about the BMW heated seats and all the different things that are happening out there. But that's what caught my attention on this original piece, and that quote that I read to kick off the interview here is, that people are familiar with Apple CarPlay. They're familiar with that interface. And here is GM saying, let's get rid of this because we see the opportunity to really expand, 1, a revenue stream, 2, capture our audience more, 3, have better control over the experience. But is that the right move? And do they even know what they're doing there?
I would add another thing that they're probably hoping to do, which is to hoover up an absolute heck ton of customer data to work out how they can monetize that through on-sell. I
mean, that's the most valuable part, right? The customer data.
And that in itself should be the most terrifying part, because if you look at the sort of the lax practices around cybersecurity that we see in the automotive industry, the protection of customer data with this kind of stuff needs to be absolutely paramount. And we just don't see the runs on the board with these organizations, because at the same time as they're trying to electrify, right, which is a huge shift, they're also moving into an era where the features and functionality of the vehicle are largely being defined by software, not so much the hardware. This is a totally new paradigm for these organizations. And they're having to learn to, and I hate using business bullshit bingo, but they're learning how to build the plane as they take off.
Yeah.
and it's leading to all sorts of challenges in this space. The reason why they want to get into the recurring revenue that is generated by subscription services largely comes down to the fact that margins are shrinking because the cost of design, development, and manufacture is going up, largely because of the shift to electrification, connectivity, and automated driving systems. And also the revenue that car makers historically have got from after sales and service, so parts, is also going away.
Yeah.
So there's a huge drive to try and recapture some of that lost revenue through these subscription services. And you hear, GM talking about 20 or 30 billion in subscription revenue by 2030. I mean, that's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of money. is it the right way to go? I mean, to come back to the question that you're asking, I think it is, but there need to be some fundamental principles in place that I think come back to this idea of like a respectful, mutually beneficial exchange of value. Right. One of those being like, don't unlock what's already there.
Right.
Right. Which is the classic BMW thing. Right. It's the Mercedes EQS. I can unlock an extra second off my 0 to 60 mile an hour time. That just makes me feel like I've already paid for something.
Yeah, and I've heard reports. I haven't seen this or done deeper research onto this, but I've heard reports of like Stellantis is rolling back like navigation capabilities and making you subscribe to like the premium navigation now, or at least maybe the rumors were starting to talk about that, but that's pulling stuff away.
Skoda has announced that they're actually going to make you pay for in-car navigation, right? Yeah. And what these sorts of double takes will simply force people to do is go and look for a competitor product where that performance is already there or that feature is already included. And I think increasingly as vehicles become defined less by the engineering basis or the hardware engineering basis, the vehicles are largely becoming commoditized in that respect. It is going to be the value add that comes through these software services that will define consumer preference for one brand over the other.
Do you think there's an opportunity to take a position like Apple themselves, not like putting Apple CarPlay into it, but I mean, Apple built the iPhone as a platform and all these developers came to it and started building on top of it. A large source of revenue for Apple now is the App Store. Do you see a future for that in automotive where if they provide the mechanism, you then can install, like Tesla's done the karaoke apps on there and, maybe some of the gaming for when you're parked, and we all know self-driving is inevitable, I think, at some point. So there could be a ton more from that.
So I think that then comes back to the question of where are your consumers already?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think Porsche has been really, really smart about this. They're making an active decision not to further fragment the market. I would say the vast majority of Porsche's customer base are on iOS.
Mm-hmm.
So let's work with iOS rather than forcing them to jump into a Porsche app ecosystem. There is a Porsche app ecosystem. I mean, manufacturers, I guess it's their duty to try and work that out. But Porsche's not going to force you down that path.
Right.
Because, the other side of building a platform is it worth a developer's time and effort?
Right. Yeah. If your audience is fragmented
to actually contribute.
Right. You're developing for GM's platform and now Ford's platform and now Stellantis and Porsche's, everybody's.
Or you're developing for Apple's where you've got over 1 billion installed user base.
Yeah. So what's the path through this? I mean, is it all agreeing, say, okay, everybody just needs to do Apple or Android, or is there another like automotive platform that
I think it's, to be honest, I think it's less a question of platform for me. I would say this, coming from a human-centered background, I'd say it's a question of determining what is the net value add for the customer. Like, how can we be sure that we are genuinely improving the customer's life, and not just as a once-off, but over time? And I think this is the other mechanic that as consumers we've become very used to. Certainly as somebody who exists within the Apple ecosystem, I just got a whole new operating system. Yeah. 12 months after the last one, I didn't pay a cent for that.
Yeah.
All of the apps for which I pay a subscription in the App Store, they're constantly being updated. And I think, RJ Scaringe at Rivian talks about this. Subscriptions will be a part of Rivian's future, but they're going to be a part where the consumer accrues value over time for the money that they're effectively putting into Rivian's R&D development, their R&D process.
Yeah.
So that's where these nasty little things like heated seats and CarPlay and what have you, they don't tend to work because they don't operate with that mechanic of the more I pay over time, the greater the value that I accrue as a consumer.
Yeah. I can tell you the number one subscription I pay for in my life exists within my car. It is the $25 a month OnStar Wi-Fi subscription. Because when we get in, all the kids, they've got something to do. They all open their iPads and they can get on, and long car rides are so much easier than they ever were before.
And I think this gets to one of the other principles is like understand customers' real pain points and then take them away. Like you as a parent, keeping your kids entertained on a long trip, massive, massive pain point.
Yes.
That $25 a month makes that pain go away. I think if you look at the success that Ford Pro is having in the commercial arena, right, with their telematics subscriptions.
So how does that one work? I'm not familiar with that.
So that's basically providing telemetry-based fleet management tools for Ford professional products. So transit vans, F-150, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what that allows fleet managers to do is to assess the uptime of their fleet, proactively act on maintenance issues before they arise. You know, fleet management is all about uptime. How many hours can we keep that vehicle on the road and keep it on the road safely and efficiently? And so Ford is actually doing super, super well in that space.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And that's a great service because just like you said, that's something that is providing value and I love this respectfully extracting revenue from the customer because it's going to get something back to them.
Well, and I think this is something, so Joe, my counterpart on looking out the podcast and the newsletter that we produce together, I think this is something that we are desperately trying to work out as this industry shifts into an age of real constraint. How do we keep that positive value exchange going? And I think historically, I've just been out and out critical of subscriptions because they felt like a money grab. But I do think that there is an opportunity if you do the research.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes a challenge, and I understand too. In these larger organizations, as big as GM, Stellantis, and Ford are, and I keep referencing them because they're what surround me here in Detroit.
They're on your doorstep.
Yeah. It is hard for them to move, and they've got all these back end systems, and finance has to approve it, and so that is a challenge. But I think somebody's got to kind of lead that way and find the way through it.
Well, and I think you've tapped into a really interesting issue. Car companies, traditional OEMs, they want to have Tesla-like valuations. That's why we saw Volkswagen Group set up an entire software development initiative called Cariad. We had German OEMs talking about wanting to hire 25,000 developers, to support the software and subscription and service side of the business. I mean, let's not get into how you're going to get 25,000 developers out of California and into Wolfsburg, Germany. That's another question for another time.
Yeah.
But they all want that valuation.
Yeah.
Because they see how much value is accruing to Tesla shareholders. A big part of Tesla's valuation is its ability to take effectively real-time data from its customers and again help our customers accrue value over time for their investment in the platform. You own a Tesla.
Yeah.
I think you own a Tesla. You own a Tesla, right?
Yep.
It's weekly or bi-weekly that you're seeing improvements to that product.
The user
interface. Made an investment.
The user interface from when I started is dramatic, and I've had that car for 8 years now. It's dramatically different than from when I got it.
And the challenge for traditional OEMs is each separate sort of functional area or attribute of the vehicle has had its own development team. So you have people who are experts in headlamps, experts in doors, experts in HVAC, experts in audio systems. And really to extract value from a service-based offering, and particularly subscriptions, it requires all of those functional attributes to come together and be developed in a harmonious way. And that's just not historically the way the industry has worked.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could imagine it's hard as these larger automotive companies. They've built up in so many different ways over time. Tesla's built from the ground up, and when you start a car company from the ground up, it's way easier to establish that and do that.
Totally.
And the Robotech, we could go down a whole Tesla path for a minute, but we'll save that for another day, so we don't fanboy over Elon Musk too much here. But I did want to come
no
around.
risk of that with me.
Oh, yeah. Man, we'll set up a whole couple hours for that one. But I did want to come back to there's another post as I was kind of doing a little bit of research prior to us jumping on, that caught my attention. You were talking about Lorem Auto. This is, I don't know. I tried to go to their website to learn more, and is it French? What language is it?
C'est tout en français. Yeah, it's all in French.
I wish Louis was here. Louis is my co-host on our podcast, and he speaks French fluently, and so he could help me. But anyway, you were talking about how I saw this on your podcast, they rent their cars versus selling them. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So, and I think I still maintain the confusion that I expressed in my own podcast, whether it's 100 euros or 200 euros a month. But essentially, they are taking a Renault Twingo, and for your American listeners and viewers who haven't seen a Renault Twingo, it's an absolute design classic. Came out in the early 90s, a really tiny little car. And what they're doing is buying up stocks of old Renault Twingos. They're working with Faurecia and Hella to essentially refit the interiors of the vehicles to bring them up to date, but crucially fitting them with battery packs and electric motors. Now, the range is not huge. It's about 60, 70 miles. But if you're living in an urban center in Europe, that's plenty as a commuter vehicle. What's super interesting about the Lorem Auto approach is by holding on to that asset and allowing people to subscribe to them for 100 or 200 euros a month, there is an incentive for Lorem Auto to work out how to sweat that asset for as long as possible. So the incentive then rests with the automaker and the service provider to, again, make sure that vehicle continues to deliver value in a competitive marketplace. And that for me it's just a wonderful reframing of how to deliver mobility as a service. Yeah. And one which I think automotive OEMs would do really, really well to explore. Again, we come back to the legacy, the history of automotive OEMs. As soon as that car comes off the production line, it's off their books.
Yeah.
And their whole financial model is built on getting that asset off the books as quickly as possible. So again, we're talking about not just a shift in technology, but we're talking about a fundamental shift in the mindset of these organizations to be able to take advantage of that kind of asset heavy model that Lorem Auto is taking to the market in France.
It's asset heavy, but potential for more revenue. We actually just talked about this on our most recent podcast, episode 24, where we dove really deep into the rental economy. And here in the States, there's furniture rentals and there's your tool rentals at Home Depot and things like that. And there's huge opportunity for a bigger rental market. But nobody's really thinking about it. Like, you'll rent a car for a short-term trip. One of the things that you said was design for life. So instead now the automaker is taking this approach of making this product last that much longer, and it becomes an asset, or I'm sorry, maybe a lot. I think it's an asset on the balance sheet at that point because it's got value, but
100%.
You're going to extract more revenue out of it over time than that one-time sale.
Absolutely. And what it does is that it shifts the incentives around how you engineer. I mean, obviously with Lorem Auto, they've taken a well-engineered, but ultimately very simple vehicle, and they're providing it with an updated powertrain. So it's a used product essentially that they're repurposing. Yeah. I think if you apply this type of thinking to the development of a new car, it really does change the way you think about how you develop that thing. how do you develop a car for a longer life rather than a shorter life? And there's a whole bunch of initiatives going on within OEMs at the moment to adopt this approach to what we call circular design, right? So the idea that, once you've built something, its life should be measured in decades rather than, a decade or sub-decade. It changes the way you think about designing replacement parts. It changes the way you start thinking about consumables. Should consumables actually be consumable in this context? And this is where, the idea of subscription or rental can have a really significant impact on sustainability. Not just business sustainability, but environmental sustainability as well.
So Polestar, we chatted a little bit about Care by Volvo last time we were on and one of our previous prep calls, and that model, their subscription model, it's worked well in Europe. It's pretty basic, it's the car insurance and repairs, and you're paying one fixed price. Now, I've heard recently and seen recently they're working on building a similar thing over at Polestar, but looking at it from a different way and calling it an enhanced lease, where you're leasing the car for 24 months. And then after 5 or 6 months, you can get out of it with no charges, no changes to it. So a little bit of a similar, it's kind of not calling it rental, but it's this like lease without strings attached. And I think, do you think the challenge sometimes is the industry is constrained by these ideas that already exist and it's not able to kind of open up its mind to like what else is possible out there and looking at that rental model?
It's a really good question. And I think when we start talking about the difference between Care by Volvo and what Polestar is proposing, I mean, it's largely semantics, isn't it?
Yeah,
right.
It really is.
When we're not talking about a radical reimagining of how we access products and services, we're talking about a tweaking around the edge of long established financial models when it comes to vehicle provision. I think. I mean, cool. Okay, great. Offer the consumer greater flexibility to get in and out of a particular type of vehicle. I know that, Porsche, Cadillac, any number of OEMs have tried, Jaguar Land Rover even, have tried models, which allow consumers greater flexibility to shift across different, vehicle types and vehicle models, on a 3-monthly basis even. Like the economics for the manufacturers just don't stack up. Right. I think pretty much all of those services have kind of disappeared. I think one of the tricks that is being missed in this domain is, again, like how do you really take the drudgery away from the consumer? And whether it's Care by Volvo or whether it's Polestar's option, like at the end of the day, you still have to fuel this thing. You still have to take it in to be serviced. You still have to find a park for it. There's an organization that I worked with previously called Link & Co, and they offer a subscription service. And they have a decent market presence in the Netherlands, where I used to live. In Amsterdam, the number one biggest pain in the butt, if you own a car, is where to park it.
Yeah. There's plenty of bike parking spots. No cars.
Bike parking is awesome. Like, I had a Mercedes S-Class there. Trying to park an S-Class in Amsterdam was hell. It was absolute hell. So if we come back to this value exchange thing, what's the one thing that a brand like Link & Co could do to make drudgery go away for their subscription users in Amsterdam? Make the problem of parking go away.
Interesting.
Right? And this is where I think you get into... There's a whole interesting realm of subscription services which then start to be much more context-based or use case-based, things that you might subscribe to only when you have to do a long road trip, right? So you might plug into your full ADAS suite only when you're doing a 500-mile road trip. Mm-hmm. You might plug into an unlimited parking subscription when you know that you're going to be in Paris for a couple of weeks, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But again, these are all things that make pain go away.
Yeah. That's the key, is make pain. I gotta write that down because I absolutely love that line. Make pain go away. I think it's it. You know, what's funny is as we're kind of wrapping up on our time here, I wanted to ask you if there's any advice you would want to offer to Detroit here. And I hate to lean into it that way, but it is really, it is what it is. And that's where I think a lot of the pain is for many of these American auto manufacturers. I feel like it's make pain go away, but what else would you say?
I think one of the biggest challenges, to be honest, certainly with the automakers that I've worked with, is that there is a belief that they have to hire from a pool of people who understand the industry, that know the industry, that perhaps live and breathe it, have petrol running through their veins. The reality is, like, a lot of these problems have been solved in aligned and adjacent industries. There's a huge amount of talent. There's a huge amount of knowledge about how to approach these things. That's not to say that, these people will immediately come in and understand the context of a car maker and fix things overnight. But I think one of the fundamental issues that these organizations face is the inability to connect ideas across domains.
Yeah.
And that starts with who you're bringing in to help you shape these services. If you'd brought somebody in from a consumer subscription service to work on how you were going to do value-added subscriptions at BMW, there's no way anybody would have suggested that subscribing to heated seats or CarPlay would ever fly.
Right.
It suggests that there's just a massive blind spot.
Yeah, they'd be like, well, let's pump the brakes on this one for a minute.
Right. Understanding consumer psychology, like, do the research.
Right.
Do the research.
Well, so, and I actually think, just pull this up. Ford made this move recently. They hired Peter Stern, a former Apple executive, to come into their integrated services. So it looks like they're kind of having that, idea of, we need to get people from that tech space over here.
Good move. And I think that there is a risk that we need to be aware of. And having worked in the technology consulting space for a number of years, I've seen so many organizations hire in figureheads, right?
Yeah.
Thinking that somebody like Peter from Apple will all of a sudden fix their woes.
Yeah.
But actually, it needs to be a root and branch assessment of the diversity of hires that you're bringing into your digital and connected services space to really make this stuff shift. So yes, good start, but let's think about, all of the doers as well.
All right. So I figured out the message for Detroit then. They need to hire you.
Yes.
Exactly. That's it. That's all it is. It's done. We're all set here. Drew, man, I appreciate this is a conversation I think we could talk forever. I definitely want to continue. I want to have you back on the podcast again. We're going to keep our pulse on what's happening out here. I know you're just starting your day in Australia there. I'm finishing my day in Detroit. How's tomorrow looking? Looking good?
It's looking great. It's looking really lovely. The weather is fantastic. I'm headed off to the beach.
That's amazing. Good. I'm going home to put some kids to bed. Drew, I thank you so much for joining me. How can people find you? Should they find you on LinkedIn, X? Where do you want to
know? Yeah. So find me on LinkedIn as Drew P.A. Smith. You can find me on Instagram as Looking Out Podcast. We're also on YouTube as Looking Out Podcast. And you can also just head to lookingout.io, which is the landing page for our newsletter and podcast.
That's awesome. Drew, truly appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for kicking off your day with me, and we'll talk more soon.
It's been a pleasure. Have a great evening.
Thanks. That was really, I could have spent so much more time with Drew and talking about these things, but I want to note a couple things that he said in that interview that I think are really relevant to what we've been talking about in the podcast so far today. One thing is he says, respectfully extract revenue, right? And it's not about, trying to create subscriptions like the BMW heated seat subscription and try and get more money from a customer and give them something that they already had to begin with. It's about finding ways, doing it with respect. Like, I don't think I need to expand anymore on that. Like, it's exactly what it is.
Well, it did
we talked about.
It did remind me of that. People are afraid of the S word. This combats that. That statement alone.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not here to scare you with a subscription offering. we're providing you value in exchange for money. It's not about trapping you, not about like cheating you out of your money. It's respectfully exchanging value for currency. And I think the way he put it, we should have that frame somewhere.
Right.
With the accent, if we can. I don't know how.
I think the word extract is a little off, but I think just overall the concept and the theory behind it. The other part is what he said is, quote, make pain go away.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find ways, provide solutions, provide tools to make pain go away for people, then it's not an experience that they're opposed to or they want to cancel or they don't find value in. Yep. Like for me, and we talked about this in the interview, is like the Wi-Fi subscription in my car is the best investment I make every month. Wow. $25. And it makes the pain of my kids screaming their heads off in the back.
the literal pain.
I love my kids.
Of headaches.
That. And then, it's always providing value and ways to give back. So great interview. Drew is just so smart and was so fun to talk to about all those things. And hopefully he'll be out at SubSummit next year, and he's going to try and make his way back to the States.
Wouldn't be the first
event.
Australian to come to SubSummit. A lot of Australians last year came.
Yeah.
So we are international, some would say.
Definitely international. So that's the future of automotive. I think it will be fun to continue to revisit that. Let's dive into, we're going to save these guys for next time?
It is up to you. These are great. Today. These are great people.
They are. We'll give them each 60 seconds, I think.
Bradley,
60 seconds.
Timer.
Here we go.
On the 8x10 Glossy. Bradley,
like
which camera do you
Impossible?
want me to look at on this? You want me to look at
You
our
can
center
do
camera?
yes. Do the middle camera. Yep.
Middle camera.
8x10 Glossy, go.
Jon Giegengack.
3 Mississippis, 4 Mississippis.
Try and spell that last name. So Jon Giegengack, head of Hub Research, and he's been to SubSummit a number of times. First of all, one of the nicest guys you could meet in the world.
This is one of the most genuine smiles.
Look at his face. He's got a real smile. So Hub Research.
Entertainment Research.
Hub Entertainment Research, yes. Thank you.
Specialize in streaming and entertainment data.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was going to pull up some of their recent stuff that they've looked into.
It's fantastic.
Pull up all sorts of data out there looking, and you can go to their website and you can see some of their latest work, but they've got a 2023 gaming research report. They dive into like the titans of streaming and like who are the heavyweights that are coming out, TV advertising in there, the evolution of the TV set, monetization of video. This is their Battle Royale Wave 3, how viewers prioritize entertainment in the subscription economy, the best bundles of 2023.
That's kind of what he spoke about at this year's SubSummit, was the bundling element for streamers and entertainment services in general. And when you enter a session with Jon speaking, it really feels like a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is like he's so much smarter than you in regard to that field that you just keep asking questions thinking, oh, no one might know this. And he'll answer very casually.
And he doesn't make you feel that way. Like
No,
he's
it's just
smarter.
great.
Like
it's just
he's
like,
just a wealth of knowledge.
Just want to keep asking questions.
And he'll talk to you all day. And that's what I love about Jon. Every time I talk to him, he's so giving with his time and his energy is just so warm and welcoming. And so really enjoy, if you get a chance to follow him. So like we talk about like research he's done and you can go buy your reports, whatever. This isn't like a paid promo piece. This is just talking about these great people.
49 seconds.
51. So anyway, Jon, Giegengack. Giegengack.
Nailed it.
Find him on LinkedIn, different places.
And find him at SubSummit.
And find him at SubSummit. He'll be back. The other one, Ben Parr.
Let's play a game. Is this a real photo or AI generated? Respond in the comment.
Okay, it's AI.
Well, the fact that you would ask that question.
From afar.
Ben Parr runs Octane AI. He's a former editor at large over at Mashable. He is on the conference circuit all the time. And Ben's another one of those guys that will talk your ear off about all things AI. Octane is like a chatbot service. They have all sorts of other offerings. They're a really cool company. But if you're looking for somebody interesting to follow in AI and also a great guy, will always talk to you about anything.
Ben is someone who's almost always 3 steps ahead without realizing it almost.
He literally walks very quickly.
Also, that he did a session on AI, and his whole session was how he trained his AI to kind of understand his behavior and what he needed from it.
Yep.
And so, very interesting stuff that not a lot of people dive into AI that way. A lot of people say, "Here's the question you need to ask if you want a blog made that way," right? But his session was really about I purposefully trained my AI to do these things when I ask certain questions. So the AI understands what tone he wants stuff in, what elements he wants included in his tweets, for example. So something he's very methodical and someone who's very, very enjoyable to converse with.
And I think when the AI overlords take over, he's going to survive because he probably says please and thank you.
Is he an overlord, technically?
He might actually just be AI himself. He might be a robot.
Compliment.
Yeah. Ben, he just moves. He's got so much energy. He's constantly going. I don't know how he does it. The only logical conclusion is he's a robot.
Well, 60 seconds.
All right. I think that is a tremendous amount of homage to those guys. You ready to dive into...
I want to name that subscription, man.
Name that subscription?
Oh. Didn't even see that one come.
Ooh.
It's all about that.
Oh, yeah. What do you think, Bradley?
Oh, I'm ready, and I am excited because we got a good one this time,
and
folks.
we still don't have a pizza party. Anywho,
we still don't have a pizza
Ladies
party.
and gentlemen, the worst... Name That Subscription is brought to you by The Worst Subscription. Do you like loaves, bratwurst, toppings, vegetables, and other great things delivered to your house on a weekly basis? Go visit theworstsubscription.com and get a bratwurst delivered by hand via Bradley or Chris Chambers to you at any given time.
That's right.
That's the thing. It's very expensive.
It's real.
Or go to worstsubscription.com and watch our awesome YouTube video. Or buy a t-shirt or a tank top.
All right.
That part is actually real.
You don't need to do those things. Just watch the video.
Okay. Here we go. Are you guys ready?
No.
We're ready.
All right. The set one is for 20 points.
Oh, wait. Hang on. If you haven't watched this before, listened to this before, just to give context, Bradley will provide us with a series of clues. Along the way, we'll attempt to guess the subscription company that you are describing via the clues. Now, something I've received some feedback on this before. It's fun because you get to learn facts about these companies as well along the way. Now, one thing to note, the team has won in the past a pizza party.
Nothing. We haven't won anything.
Now,
we didn't win anything.
the team is attempting to win a taco party.
But no, we haven't won the first thing.
We're not going to win anything.
You know what? I'm going to go on strike. Now that UAW is done, I vote a sub strike.
$20 right here for the pizza party.
So
We're
going to start now.
I'll give you 3 pizzas at Little Caesars.
Little Caesars?
No, we're not doing Little.
Name that
That's
subscription.
illegal. Okay, here we go.
That's illegal.
Set one for 20 points. Launched in 2012.
That's how I got my first brand last time.
The end of the world. Delivered fiscal year 2022 revenue of $507.4 million, a 34% increase year over year.
Sorry, it was $574 million?
$507.4 million, 34% increase year over year.
500 million,
2021,
basically.
you said?
Fiscal year 2022.
Thank you.
And a 30% increase year over year?
34, yeah.
Wow.
And that's what, I don't know. That was surprising for me too.
Well, 2022. Those are the two. Do you have one more for us just for fun?
Oh, no. I got some more.
Oh, thank you.
According to their website, Chris made it a link as if we could
That's
do that.
helpful. Yeah.
He made
Thank
a
you,
hyperlink
Chris.
for me within this list. Like I could pull it up and show you guys. Anyway, according to their website, they maintain a robust gross margin of 59.3%. They put that on their website. The 2022 market size of their overall industry is $150 billion.
One more time?
Their 2022 market size of their overall industry is $150 billion.
It's a lot of billion.
I know, that's massive. Also surprising to me. In 2022, reportedly had 450 employees. It's a lot of information I gave for 20 points. However, I think it's good information because I think it's a toss-up for me. Some of these feel like they are red herrings because of how crazy some of these stats
So they're
are.
500 million of a total 154 billion market?
Yes.
Math
Oh
ain't
yeah,
math.
no, he gave me the hyperlink and Bloomberg report here.
Oh,
He's right.
that's a hint.
No, it's just a report.
Well, that's a hint.
59% gross margin, 450 employees.
To me,
What do you think, Louis?
To me, it feels like it's a digital
I feel that.
product. My first guess was going to be Zoom. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But
I understand that.
it just feels right. But the biggest one is the 34% increase year over year.
My guess is the app called Calm.
Calm.
No, we did that. Are you serious right now?
Did
we
we
do
do
that in the
Headspace or Calm last?
Does he not care?
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
Did we do it before?
Literally
It
2
was
weeks
last-
ago.
It was Calm?
last
And you
episode.
guys didn't
I thought I
figure
wasn't
it
sure
out.
if it was Calm or Headspace. Yeah, because the in-app.
I'm going to go with
purchases,
Zoom.
but anyway, yes.
I'm going to go with Zoom.
Wow.
It is
Losing it.
not Zoom.
That's a bummer.
I was gonna say,
Clearly
I feel
not Calm,
like
because
Zoom would
I
have
fell asleep
more
during that
than 507 million out of 150 billion.
I wasn't sure. Sure. So you think digital as well? Because you said Calm.
I'm walking down the digital path here.
What?
150
Um,
billion's insane.
Because
Is it
that
No, it's
puts
not
like a
gaming.
total. Oh,
Did I-
gaming.
Did I get your attention there?
Yeah. And Bradley
Microsoft.
paused too. We can
Interesting.
only see his eyes. We can't see his
Like
mouth.
I look like the neighbor from
Microsoft.
You
that,
don't get
that
this
one
funny.
show.
Microsoft Game
Peering
Pass?
over.
No, it's not Microsoft's Game Pass.
Yeah, hate
no.
it. Stupid.
It's
Who would think of
it's
that?
it's a Nintendo.
It is not Nintendo.
Dang it.
We are
Silly
moving
man.
on to 10 points.
We
Everything
lost
is ruined.
10 points. Dang it. Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. Added 1.2 million new subscribers in fiscal 2022, bringing year-end total to 2.3 million.
Oh, they added. Wait, stop.
Okay. I can
Repeat
go
that.
back.
They added.
added 1.2 million new subscribers in fiscal 2022, bringing year-end total to 2.3 million.
Wait, so they doubled their subscribers?
That doesn't make sense though. They had 34% year-over-year growth, but they added.
Could be
They
Chris
doubled.
Chambers.
1.2.
They doubled. Wait, they doubled
And
their
they came
subscribers?
I wish he had a
from how
hyperlink for
much?
this one, too.
I know how much. How many subscribers previously?
I
didn't
don't see
say
the
that.
previous. It says added 1.2 million new subscribers.
Well, they had
bringing
half of
year-end total
Oh,
to
year-end.
2.3 million. Year-end total.
Out of fiscal. Oh, you
Yeah.
guys are annoying with those. Everyone should just
you're
go
right.
operate. What do we operate off a fiscal year? Let's operate
Yeah,
off
no,
year.
I actually agree.
Make that easy.
Anyway, recently increased advertising and marketing expenses 48.4%.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. To 17.2 million in the first quarter of 2022.
I'm still feeling very confident to digital / gaming / something. I don't see that being a sub box.
NFL.
No.
No.
Average
That's a
order value
billion-dollar
of
organization.
30.06.
Well, oh, wait. AOV of what?
$30. Average order value $30.06.
Could it be streaming?
IPO'd in June of 2021.
Why didn't you say that?
$18 a share.
Didn't Wink go?
His
No.
face.
No.
Look at that
Wait, well, no, that actually makes sense. It could be Wink.
In June? No.
Why?
That's too much for Wink.
2021.
22. They went bankrupt in after that.
gosh.
Interesting.
Are they still in business?
Yeah.
They are still in business. I can tell you that.
Well,
they-
whatever.
I'm
I think
okay.
they're still
I'm
in
okay with
business.
telling you that.
What a silly guess that was.
Is
Average
Mike-
monthly churn is 6.9%.
6.9.
Just feed me.
You guys are grabbing these from the annual report. I swear to God.
Then you should know.
It's an annual report one.
Stitch Fix.
No.
No.
Rent the Runway.
Moving on. No.
Hang on. I haven't guessed yet.
Okay, you go. Do your guess. I gotta go to the 5 points.
6.9%. 6.9%
What is 6.9% churn?
churn.
Monthly churn.
Oh.
Masterclass.
It is not masterclass.
The masterclass isn't public, are they?
Leading to the obvious. We'll make it more clear. In parentheses. This is what Chris Chambers wrote.
That's mine.
5 points. Stock currently traded at one
That's not more clear.
a share. No, we got
Wait, hang
more
on.
coming. We got more coming.
See, if it's X, I'm going to be pissed off.
Well, here we're gonna have
It's
some
not.
more fun
They're
here.
private.
Nominated for 6 separate Cube Awards and won Best Redacted in 2021.
Nominated for 6 Q awards.
Best Redacted, obviously, because that would
Doesn't
that would really
end with
give it away.
award. It doesn't end with award. Is that the hint?
I'm not gonna.
Is it best redacted award or is it best
No.
redacted? That's a big difference.
Best redacted, best streamer, best media
Everything is
publication.
redacted, whether it has 2
Well,
words
that's
or
just
not.
No, we already did New York Times. It can't be New York Times. That wouldn't make sense anyway.
6 times. It's a box.
Stock at $1 and what?
It's just $1.
It's not Blue Apron.
It is not
No,
Blue Apron.
Hunted Killer's been nominated a bunch of times.
No, not public.
Has recently partnered with big box stores to sell physical products and one-off purchases.
If it's Battle Box, is it
It's
Battle
not
Box?
Battle Box. It's
It
not
is in the subscription box segment.
Oh, well, Battle Box was public on the Toronto Exchange for a little bit,
Ooh.
but not anymore.
So big time nominees for keyboards. Battle Box.
This next one should give it away.
Okay,
Hang
give it
on.
away. No,
Hunted Killer.
No.
Do you have any
it's not
pride?
Hunted Killer.
I'm not
I'm
moving to 1
listing
point.
things
Not moving
off.
to 1 point yet. The final one would still be 5 points, but I'll let you go first.
Yes,
Let's give the final one for 5 points. Let's keep it going
You're
for a second.
such
No.
impatient
I want to.
person.
I want to hear what Louis has to say because this one will give it away.
BarkBox.
It is BarkBox.
Yes.
You couldn't wait
job.
3 seconds.
Well, so the next.
Well, you were
the-
saying
Now I'm
sil-
pissed off that I guessed right.
you were saying silly things.
the
I
next-
was listing keyword
The
numbers.
next clue was Louis would absolutely never purchase that because he hates the target demographic.
That's a fact.
Oh,
That was a
hater.
funny guess.
that
That was a funny hint.
Yeah, the pet industry is 150 billion.
Yeah, everyone loves their pets.
That threw me off.
BarkBox.
That
IPO.
absolutely threw me off. I thought it was
Okay.
digital by those two.
Can't believe.
But how did they add
doubled
1
the number
million
of subscribers.
subs? Yeah, that doesn't.
I feel like he messed
Added
up
1.2
somewhere.
million new subscriptions. You talking about in fiscal 2022, bringing
Yeah, they added 1.1 million subscriptions. Saying, yeah, I mean, unless when they went public, they went super aggressive with marketing. It just doesn't make any.
Well, yeah, that's what he said. 48%.
Oh, yeah.
bump in
48%
marketing.
advertising and
Okay, that
marketing
makes sense.
expenses. Yeah.
AOV $30. That's super low.
Purchase order value,
Their churn rate was
$30, yeah.
interesting, 6.9. I know it's industry average, but
Yeah,
that was an interesting one.
that's fascinating. Interesting. Yeah, really good name that subscription.
Bark.
Well, we got 5 more points. We are at
that goes toward
15
nothing.
points
5 points added.
to the taco party.
Woo!
That may or may not happen.
It's never gonna happen.
Oh, thank you. Well, and here's why. Because we have
Are
a-
you
You're gonna
serious
you're gonna
right now?
say it got buried every single time we do an
This was
episode.
the first
the
time he was
problem.
honest about a party not happening.
So I have to be honest with you guys.
Okay.
Our sponsor called.
The worst subscription?
Yes.
That
And they
doesn't-
said, if you're going to do a pizza party, we are out of sponsoring this.
Bradley owns the
Are we
company.
gonna do a
And-
bratwurst party?
Yes. And I said,
Bradley,
guys,
you
I will stop the
train-
pizza
You own the
party from
company.
happening, but I'm going to continue to tease it to them along with the taco party. But I promise you, we'll only ever do a bratwurst party. So, then
Okay,
I,
fine,
then I
cool.
didn't
Let's
know
do a
where to-
bratwurst party.
I'm okay with that.
I
Feels
guarantee
like
that's
more
not
work.
happening.
Feels like more work.
I will bet a lot of money.
I would veto this. But you would think I was the CEO of the company. At first I was, but now Paul's majority stock share.
Feels
Because he
like
gave
the
us-
worst
he gave us
subscription.
$20, so
I
he actually
did.
does
I
make
bought
the
them out.
yeah.
Anyway, so apologize to that. Thank you to our sponsor again, the worst
Whatever
subscription.com
sponsors.
for this. Haven't seen a check from them yet, so we could still have a pizza party.
Whatever. I don't believe
If
anything.
you've enjoyed this podcast,
I'm gonna
and-
make a couple of announcements real quick. SubSummit,
All
in
right.
case you didn't know, you hear that event name a lot, right? It's the world's largest gathering of subscription, of membership, and recurring revenue brands. In other words, everyone who's in the retail e-commerce space, they're at our event. Whether you are the Walmart of the world, the Amazon of the world, the Netflixes of the world, the New
Or
York Times
dog
of the world,
poop bag of the world.
everyone. No, well, maybe you should come actually. You should be at SubSummit, and why should you be? You're probably asking. Well, because we just announced our first 20 speakers, and those are experts. So if you want to hear from someone like Nick Sharma, who's helped countless e-commerce brands generate millions of dollars in added revenue, one of the smartest behavior psychology expert, Nancy Harhut, who just published a book not too long ago on that exact topic. She's going to be here giving a keynote. If you want to hear from a really big-time rising brand like Crunch Labs and their COO, Jim Lee, on what they do to get their customers' interest and keep them subscribed, you should be there. If you want to hear from Robbie Kellen-Baxter, the membership expert herself, she's going to be here. Someone from Hearst Magazines, Shilsha, he's going to be there. Brienne Kennedy from Washington Post, Kevin Tai from Beachly Brands, everyone who is in this space is going to be here, and they're ready to help you grow, scale, elevate your business. Regardless of if you have 100 subscribers or 100 million, they've got you covered.
You know, we were super selfish when we started SubSummit. It was like the most selfish business we
I
ever
wasn't
started.
there yet, but
And we started because we wanted to meet. The story I always tell people when we're talking to them about speaking at SubSummit is because we wanted to meet other subscription box owners.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't expect to make any money on the conference. We just wanted to launch it and meet other people in the space, and it worked. Mm-hmm. We met some amazing people. We had conversations at that first SubSummit that changed the course and trajectory of the Gentleman's Box, the subscription business we're running at the time.
Which was later acquired.
It was later acquired.
It's a big deal.
And so that allows us to focus all of our time and energy on this. And with that, we continue with that same spirit today. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about our event. There's some amazing speakers on here. You can go and listen to them talk. and these are conversations I'm having every single day. And there's actually double this amount that you see on the website right now. We just haven't had time to add them all yet. And we're slowly adding people onto there. And we'll have close to 200 speakers this year. We'll have close to at least 2,000 attendees in the room. But the best part about it is they all go there with the same intent of helping each other and growing and learning themselves too. And that's what I like. I think that spirit still lives in the event today. Will always live in the event because that's why we do this. And that's why you should be at the conference. That's why you should come to it. I think there's some great excuses, great reasons in all these speakers here and hearing from them all, but you're going to learn. You're going to grow.
And I think one of the most underrated part about this conference, this is not a pay to speak conference. A lot of conferences, if you pay them enough money, you can get on stage as a keynote. These speakers have been vetted by an incredibly methodical content committee that SubSummit has designed, and they've been vetted through an application process that is a very hard one. And so when they come on stage, it's not because they paid us to be there and promote their services. They are on here to help you because they believe in the knowledge that they've acquired and the expertise that they have, and they want to share those insights, that exclusive data with everyone in the e-commerce space. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to hear someone telling you should subscribe to my product or you should join Klaviyo. Like, no, these are people on stage that want to help you.
I mean, some people slip me a 20. I'll take it. I give it to you for your Apple subscription. No.
But we also have the sponsors reveal that just happened this week. We have almost 50 sponsors locked in, and we're already 8 months away from the event. This kind of hype for an event this far away doesn't happen often, and the reason for that is because we're the only ones doing it at this scale. So it's quite simple. If you believe in subscriptions, you're going to be with us. We're going to have a live podcast as well there, so plenty of fun to go around. Bradley will be there with his 3-piece suit, right?
That's true.
Is it magenta this year? What are we deciding on?
Oh, I haven't decided yet, but magenta seems pretty good.
We'll keep it a teaser.
All right. Well, thank you for being our hype man here today. Woo! If you have enjoyed this podcast, we always appreciate you sharing it, dropping a comment, liking any of the actions that are appropriate for it. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the second quarter century.
And the 26th
of podcast coming up. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.